and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm Sarah, I'm a medical esthetician, and on this channel, we discuss everything skincare to help you learn how to best care for your skin. Today, we are going to be discussing skincare for tweens and teens, what you should and shouldn't be looking for and doing. If we're going to discuss tween and teen skincare, we of course cannot forget about the Sephora kids. So what are Sephora kids? If you don't already know, Sephora kids are tweens and teens, mostly in the younger age group, that are being let loose in a lot of Sephoras. This doesn't necessarily sound that bad until you take into consideration all of the employee and customer experiences that are being broadcast over social media. A lot of these tweens and teens that are deemed Sephora kids are essentially making the Sephora experience miserable for a lot of people. What a lot of these Sephora kids are doing is going into stores and playing with the Drunk Elephant and Glow Recipe products and making skincare smoothies. Glow Recipe isn't the brand that initially started this. It was primarily Drunk Elephant with their marketing and teaching people to mix their products together in order to get the product that they want and all the benefits from all the products. On top of that, there are children in Sephora stores absolutely throwing hissy fits if another customer has a product that they want and that customer will not give it to them. Children are trying tactics like pouting, begging, crying, hitting, punching. There was one story on TikTok where a girl was hit by a child's Stanley Cup and stepped on and pinched because this little child was not getting the product from the grown-up that she wanted. And this grown-up had no relation to this child. It was just somebody that the child saw had a product that she wanted. On top of that, children are absolutely losing it with their parents when their parents will not buy them what is essentially $1,000 worth in products from Sephora. Some of these parents are actually putting their foot down and saying absolutely not to spending that much money. They were supposed to pick 2 or 3 products that they wanted, not $1,000 worth. However, some of these parents, when the kids throw hissy fits, will cave and buy their products, which I personally think is ridiculous. Most of these children do not need products from Sephora. However, as a parent, quite frankly, at the end of the day, that is your decision. I may not necessarily agree with it. I may not think your child needs all those products either from an esthetician standpoint. But you know what? Your child, you raise it the way you want. Now that we have an overview of what exactly Sephora kids are, where on earth did this start? As with a lot of things lately, social media is the answer to this. Sephora kids are children who saw something on TikTok or another form of social media and decided that these are the products they need. Because some of these children, I would assume a lot of them are in the wealthier group and are more popular at their school, have received these products. There's now bullying going around at school as well for the children that do not get the Stanley Cup, the Glow Recipe, the Drunk Elephant. Essentially fill in the blank for whatever product is trending on TikTok. Unfortunately, it is now Sephora and their consumers and their employees who are dealing with this fallout. Social media in general has been gaining a younger and younger audience, and people are expecting children to be acting and dressing and purchasing like adults. With this pressure for children to look and act older than they are, has come the skincare that, quite frankly, they don't need, but is being popularized. Things like Drunk Elephant and Glow Recipe, which in and of themselves aren't necessarily bad brands. However, they are inappropriate for children. I can't speak to how effective these brands are because I haven't really tried products from them. But if you look at the amount of actives that are in their products, those are not things that tweens and teens really need to be using. Most of their products are geared more to people in their mid-20s and up. Both brands contain a lot of actives in their products, and those actives just are not necessary for somebody so young. This is, of course, not counting teenagers who maybe have acne or another skin condition. In those cases, those children, teens, might actually benefit from having actives. However, I highly suggest going to a skincare professional, whether it's a dermatologist or even an esthetician, to see what would be best for your child's skin. I know I sound like just another YouTuber who is dragging on Sephora kids and doesn't want them in Sephora's, but realistically speaking, there are items in Sephora that might actually work for your teen. I just don't know if it's necessarily the best place to start for teenage skincare. So Sephora isn't the best place to start. Where on earth do you go? My biggest recommendation, and will probably always be my biggest recommendation unless I gain some education that changes my mind, because I'm always open to change, is to start with brands like CeraVe or Aveeno or Cetaphil. These brands are gentle and they're not going to strip your child's skin. They're also not expensive. You don't want to spend an arm and a leg and maybe a few other body parts on your child's skincare if they aren't going to use it and if they don't need it. What you choose from any of these brands is going to depend on what your child's skin is like, what their skin conditions are, what they're dealing with. However, for the most part, you are going to be looking for something gentle, non-stripping, but that will get them started in that routine. Now, of course, the caveat along this entire video is that your child does not have a skin condition that needs an active or a steroid or something else. The benefit to shopping from brands like CeraVe, Aveeno, and Cetaphil are that not only are they a lot more affordable when you're starting a skincare routine, but you can also just pick them up when you're grocery shopping. If your child is asking you for skincare, but they aren't able to purchase it themselves because, they're literal children, you can just pick something up at the grocery store, see if it works for them, see if they're even sticking to that skincare routine. Because if they are really young, they may not actually stick to it. I struggle sticking to my own skincare routine, and it is my job. So, for a 10-year-old to ask for skincare, and expensive skincare at that, might just be a waste of money that a lot of people do not have right now. Now, if your child has a skin issue, skin condition, or if you're genuinely able to budget for Sephora skincare, I highly recommend going to a med spa or going to see an esthetician and purchasing professional skincare. Professional lines have the right products that would work for young teens and for teenagers and everybody else. However, they are a lot more affordable than getting something from Sephora. I have priced it out for myself. And you have a professional that can guide you and can help your teen along their skincare journey, and as their hormones change, as they maybe get more acne, more oily skin, or whatever else goes on with their skin. Going to a professional will also just set your child up for a good base in order to continue that into their adult life. Now, as with a lot of skincare brands, there is a huge caveat for professional brands as well. You need to make sure that you are getting a good brand. There are a few that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. However, for the most part, professional brands are good. Just make sure you're doing your research into these brands as well. And that can be something as simple as just looking at skincare reviews. My biggest red flag for any brand, whether it is a pharmacy brand or a professional brand, is when the brand does a lot of greenwashing and says they are a natural brand or don't use preservatives. By far, if a brand says they don't use preservatives, I run the other way. We need preservatives in our skincare in order for them to not grow bacteria, mold, all of that. So if a brand says they don't use preservatives, absolutely not. Do not use those brands. Make sure you're looking at reviews for whatever brand you choose, and then go from there. So we're avoiding Sephora brand skincare. You're maybe going to a med spa or an esthetician in order to get good skincare for your child. But let's say you can't afford that. What in the world should you be looking for? We somewhat already discussed it. I mentioned that you need skincare that is gentle, doesn't have too many actives in it, and just your basic cleansers and moisturizers would be a good place to start. I'm pretty sure I've already mentioned it. However, just in case I haven't, until you are in your mid-20s, you don't really need anything beyond a solid first and second cleanse, a good moisturizer, and a broad spectrum SPF 30 or above. So for your first cleanse, you're going to want to look for an oil or a balm-based cleanser. I know it's really tempting to skip that if you're not the type of person, or if your teen isn't the type of person to wear makeup. However, everybody should be using an oil or a balm-based cleanser to get their sunscreen off, and everybody should be using a sunscreen every single day. Even during the winter when it's cloudy, because the UV rays can still penetrate the clouds and damage your skin. Now, of course, there are going to be the people who don't wear sunscreen because they just don't want to, and in that case, please wear sun protective clothing. And if there are people who just can't wear sunscreen because they can't find something they aren't allergic to, again, sun protective clothing is going to be your best friend. But for everybody else, first cleanse should be an oil or a balm-based cleanser because you are wearing your SPF every single day. Now for your main cleanse, you're going to want to look for something that is pretty gentle. You don't want to have anything that's going to be too stripping or too harsh on your teen's skin. And then moisturizer follows the same rule. Look for a lightweight moisturizer that's meant for sensitive skin. Those are usually a good place to start just because they don't have any essential oils or actives in them for the most part. There are some that will have an essential oil if it's labeled as sensitive skin. So just look into that. However, most of them won't have those in there. And then, of course, choose your favorite SPF 30 plus to round out that routine. If you can get your teen using a good cleanser, moisturizer, and SPF while they are in their teens, it's going to do wonders for their skin as they go into adulthood. I've been talking a lot about your teen doesn't need any type of active or use gentle products on your teenagers. But why? Why can't your teens use actives? So to start, your teen absolutely can use actives if they need it. However, for the most part, your teenager's skin is in its prime. Your teen's cellular turnover is in its prime right now, and the same goes for collagen production. A lot of age management routines aim to help your skin get back to that point. It's trying to increase cellular turnover, promote collagen production, and just make sure that your skin is plump and glowing. If you already have skin that is turning over every 28 days and is optimally producing collagen, there isn't really a point to using skincare products that are just going to do the same thing. If your teen is concerned with age management and they want to always look young and all of that, their best bet is to be on a healthy diet, drink enough fluids, get enough sleep, and use a good cleanser, moisturizer, and SPF. SPF is a key factor in ensuring that you're looking younger than you actually are. A lot of the concerns that people with age management routines are trying to target can be prevented by using SPF. Other than that, there's really not much else that a teenager needs for their skincare. Now you may be thinking, okay, that's all fine and dandy for teenagers who have essentially flawless skin, but my teenager is dealing with a skin condition. Primarily, a lot of teens deal with acne, so we're going to discuss that. Those teenagers will have the same amount of steps, or at least close to, as a teenager who doesn't have acne. However, the same way you probably aren't using the same skincare routine as your teenager, your teen with acne shouldn't be using the same products as a teen that doesn't have acne. What you want to look for are products that target your teen's acne without overdoing it. So my recommendation for a lot of teens is starting on a cleanser that targets their acne. Salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide are my two go-tos. And then using a lightweight moisturizer and an SPF. And then in the evenings, you're going to use that same cleanser that targets their acne a lightweight moisturizer, and then add in a retinol if possible. I would recommend going to a dermatologist for this. They can get you a retinol that will really help with their acne. Of course, if you cannot afford that, there are over-the-counter options that may work. You are going to want to start that 1 to 2 times a week and then slowly increase from there as their skin tolerates it. At the end of the day, your child's skincare routine should be fairly simple for them to follow, tailored to their skin, and try to make it an enjoyable experience for them. If it's an enjoyable experience, it's something that they will be able to stick to a lot easier, and hopefully they will bring that into their adulthood and slowly add in products as they need it. Or if they're not the type to really enjoy skincare as they get older, they will at least be taking care of their skin and making sure that they are preventing any sun damage. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you want to watch more videos, there will be one that pops up below. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And other than that, have an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video.